But right now, you don't know what you're doing. You're going to hurt yourself. So if I'm going to teach you, I'm going to teach you the correct way. And that means I'm going to give you realistic timeframes for when things should be expected. What happens if you do really, really well? Could you do it sooner? Yes, but that shouldn't be your goal. You should be doing this with the intent that you're going to do it with these timelines in mind, with the intent that you're going to get good with the proper amount of time to allow you to develop into it. Okay, 10%, Michael, that's a little too much for me now. Give me something more realistic. Okay, let's say it's 3%. Ugh, a month? Come on, Michael. Seriously, 3%? Dude, that's like your stop loss. Yes, but here's the thing. $250,000, and if you have 3% as your model, you're aiming for 3%. Can you hit 3% in year one per month? At the end of it, yeah, I believe you can. Consistently, probably not every single month because you're still developing. But I think in the same frame of 2.5 to 3 years, I think 3% every single month is absolutely doable. What's the math on that? Well, for $250,000 and you're trying to get 3%, $7,500 per month. So you take that same thing, divide it by 4 weeks. And I know some of you are thinking like, this is anybody could do this. Is elementary math. Yes, but I want you to think about how you're not doing this. So it's so easy, you know the math, but you're fucking still working. Okay, you're still doing fucking oil changes at fucking Jiffy Lube. Okay, and you're going to talk to me in the comment section about how you say this and you say that. Dude, if it's so easy, you do it. You record yourself. You go on Twitter, say what it's going to go to next, and you do it. Okay, and I don't see you fucking flyboys doing that. So you got $7,500 on $2,500 equity. So you funded with $250,000. You're aiming for 3%. Now, some of you are thinking 3%. Fuck that. That's not enough. Listen, folks. Listen to the math here. $7,500. Are you making $7,500 right now at your job? Does your boss love you so fucking much that they're rewarding you for 40 hours or more a week in the tune of $7,500 a month? Chances are you're fucking not. Okay. Now, some of you probably make more than that, and that's fine. That's great. Well done. You're still a slave. But $7,500, divide that by 4 weeks. It's $1,875 a week. Now, that's not a lot of money. That's not a lot of money, and that's an easy objective to reach, especially if you're working with $250,000. So you do the same thing. You break that up over points. We're doing with the S&P right now, okay? So if you take $1,875, divide that by $50. That's 1 point, okay? Or one handle. 4 ticks is one handle or 1 point in the S&P. That's $50. Divide the $1,875 by 50. That means you have to earn a net gain of 37.5 handles or points for the week. What? How am I going to do that? Well, per day, it's only 7.5 points. That's easy as shit. That's fucking easy. Now, you split that day of 7.5 points into 2 sessions. You have the morning session, you have the afternoon session. Divide it into lunch. You take a lunch hour, go play some PlayStation, Xbox, take a nap, whatever. Come back at 1:30 and work till 4 o'clock. And aim for what? The same thing you try to do in the morning. You got 7.5 points that you got to make. That's your goal. That's all you're aiming for the day. You try to get 3.75 handles. That's 1 tick less than 4 handles in the morning and in the afternoon. So aim for 4 handles in the morning, aim for 4 handles in the afternoon, and that covers your commission costs. And you'll net 3.75 handles. You do that every single day, or if you're a swing trader and you say, okay, I can see something on the hourly chart that's going to probably move 40 handles, well, then you just do 1 trade and you're done. But you can split this up into small, little, tiny, bite-sized pieces. And if you've watched what I've been doing and you think that 4 handles is hard, you haven't been watching enough of my videos. You haven't been watching enough of my executions. 4 handles is nothing. Like 4 handles, that can happen in less than 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Like in some instances, a one minute candle, it can do 5 handles because I'm taking you into the time when the market's likely to move like that, aiming for a direction or a bias that's attacking a pool of liquidity or aiming for an inefficiency. You're not looking at indicators, you're looking at shit that repeats over and over again. So you could be taking that $250,000 account and parlaying that up to $7,500 a month, doing around $80,000 a year. Not doing very much to do it. It's all about how you understand what repeats. I'm showing you these small little movements intraday because when you look at all the social media stuff, they all show you these big, massive runs in price that they just got lucky with. I'm showing you week after week, day after day, 100 handle moves, 50 handle moves, 30 handle moves. And I'm talking to you right now about 4 handles. That's one less than the 5 handle model that my son uses. 4 handles, folks. That's easy. That's so easy. It's insane. And you can do just 1-to-1 gearing and it's done. You're trying to make 3% per month on $250,000. What happens if you do that same thing each month with that same $250,000 account and you let 3% compound over and over and over again? You're making 6 figures. You're not over leveraging ever. You're never going to blow the account. You're never going to wreck yourself. And you're never aiming for something that's too hard or anxiety inducing. 6% per month doubles your account size, no matter how you slice it. No matter what you start with, at the end of the entire year, if you compound 6% every single month, it's 100% return. You have $1 million account that you funded with? Okay. Aim for 6%. Oh, but ICT. Oh, ICT shit. Okay. It's this math and sticking to the same multiplier. What's the multiplier? How do you get those 4 points? I know what you're thinking. Like, okay, this sounds all easy now. Now tell us, how do we get those 4 handles? How do we get those 4 points? What have I been showing you? Aim for something. What's it reaching for? A pool of liquidity. Bias has nothing to do with it. Where is it at right now? Turn your charts on at 10 o'clock tomorrow. You're not trading. This is going to be a preview for the next week. You do not turn your charts on until 10 o'clock in the morning, New York local time. Find the most recent 5 or 15-minute high or low. What's the market done since the opening? And then aim for that. See which side's been ran out initially. If they've taken out the lows and it's been run up and it's created a short-term high and it's retraced, its chances are it's going to do what? Run that high that just made. If it offers 4 handles, then you execute in your, not your demo, in your observance of watching price. You're going to tape read that. Well, what am I looking for? A fair value gap on a 1-minute chart. It will be there. That's the wonderful thing that you're going to discover, because all this stuff repeats on all these time frames. You watch me do a 10-second trade on NASDAQ today. And yeah, it repeats over and over again on all time frames, because price is price. And price is not really referring to the things I'm showing you in charts. That's the language that I've used to bridge your understanding and what you don't and won't know about the algorithm. See, there's a difference between people that will say with harmonic bullshit, okay, and retail logic splattered all over their chart and say that's what the banks use. This is the algorithm. No, that's not. That's retail bullshit. And that's why it's failing you and you're blowing out publicly. And I'm showing every single day precision at work. Now, you don't have to like me, okay? We don't have to be friends at the end of this year. Okay, but give me the opportunity to make you into a fucking beast. Okay, I don't give a shit what you think about me as a person. I don't give a shit if you like my personality. I don't think that even matters. Okay, but I am so ready. I am so ready to transform all of you. But you have to be here. You have to show up and you have to engage and you have to study and you have to look at the shit and forget all the other shit you think you know. Put it all down. You'll believe me. I guarantee you will see right away there's something totally different when we're watching real-time price action, because it's going to be a plain, simple chart. And you're going to watch these candles paint and they're going to communicate with one another. They're going to react to one another and they're going to live and breathe and move across the chart in a way that's going to make perfect sense. After several months of doing it, you're going to know exactly what it's doing without me saying it. And when you start hearing me say exactly what you're thinking, you understand exactly how to read a tape. You have then, at that moment, learned a skill set that I can't write down in a book. I can't make a video for you, because that's what you want. You want these 5-minute trainers. Learn ICT concepts in 5 fucking minutes. Man, seriously? You can't. My shit's been out there since last year, okay? I want to see these individuals that are saying they can do it in 5 minutes, and these 5-minute video trainers. Go out and trade it live. Go out there on Twitter like I'm doing. Call the level it's going to be traded to next, and then record yourself doing a precision entry with a stop loss and targets being filled. Stop making 5-minute bullshit, okay? You can't learn this in 5 minutes. I can't compress 3 decades into fucking a year. I couldn't do it. It took several years to get it this far. It's just so, it's deep. It's very, very deep. And you can go really, really, really far with your learning with this and become a freak with it, like I am. Like, it's, to me, it's amazing. I love it. But you don't need to be like this to make money. You can just do what I showed you last year, and that's it. That's beautiful. You can make all kinds of money with that. But what repeats every single day that these folks that will tell you don't have a goal, don't have a fucking goal, don't have a percentage return because math doesn't matter. And the logic they use in trading is flawed. So it makes perfect sense. They'll argue and say, oh, they're going to show you a spreadsheet and they're going to pull up a calculator and they're going to do this and going to do that. But they're not going to be able to do it because this, that, and the other thing. Now, bullshit. I'm already showing you. I'm bringing the receipts that I can read this shit real time on any fucking time frame. Any time frame. I showed you with the daily chart. I showed you with the weekly chart. I showed you with the 4-hour chart, the hourly chart, the 15-minute chart, the 5-minute chart, the 1-minute chart, the fucking second charts. 10 seconds now, folks. 10 fucking seconds. Do I got to do it with 1 second charts? Because I'll fucking do it next week too. And you still will see that because they can't do it. Fuck them. They don't matter. They don't matter. They cannot hold you back, but you're going to let them. Some of you will let that bullshit creep into your head and you will ignore the fucking evidence that I'm proving and showing and giving you a testimony every single fucking day. Here it is. It's right here again. Here it is. Here it is. Take your attention to this chart. Look at that candle right there. It's going to go here. It's going to go there. You have to have a target. You have to. If you have no target, how the fuck can you measure your progress? Are you hitting the mark every single time you aim for it? How can you realistically gauge progress and development? You're going to be spinning your wheels, which is exactly why this fucking industry has break even to blowout. 90% of the club. First 3 months, that's exactly what happens. How many times have you seen me get it wrong? Yeah, how about that? I'm publicly doing it. I'm pointing to it. I'm calling it. I'm recording myself doing it. How the fuck can I cherry pick it? I've already co-signed where it's going. You know where I'm aiming for. You know the logic I use for trades. My trades are one-sided. If you can paint the direction on both sides, that's not high probability. I wouldn't be in that fucking move. So you take that logic of knowing what we're looking for. The multiplier is your setup, your model, the thing that you trade over and over again. You don't give a shit about anybody else's pattern. You don't care what ICT's fucking trading. You don't know what anybody else in the community is doing. You don't give two shits what they're doing. You found your setup, your model. What does that look like? Well, I just showed you one the other day. I gave you a breaker that I thought was going to be, something I can watch and see it melt down. If it would have broke through, then I would have used a fair value gap and I would have done something with that trade. But I told you to wait to the open and what? And 15 minutes. And in that time period, waiting, I saw what I was looking for wasn't going to pan out. And if I have a time limit or a filter on saying I can't engage at 9:30, I got to wait. I can't get in ahead of 9:30. I have to wait. Why? PAL. And we are 2 days away from CPI. And it's treated much like what? Non-farm payroll. So you have to be very, very diligent about keeping your level of frequency and trade and engagement limited. Be very, very selective on what you're trying to do, because these market conditions you watch today is generally what you see coming into CPI. Big money starts sitting still and the algorithm will paint sideways, run small little shallow runs above highs and lows intraday, and just look aimless like Eurodollar. It's still doing something, 2, 3, 4, 5 handle, pip moves, but that's not what I want to be trading. Can I go in there and do that just to prove it to you? Yes, but I want to teach you the right way of looking at a market that's really moving. That's where I'm taking your attention, and I've been there for months. That's index futures right now. And forex might get crazy again. And if it does, I'll migrate right back over to forex. But right now, the risk is too high for what it's giving out. No, thank you. So if you're looking at a pattern, like I was explaining, if I'm looking at something in the chart that might lend to a breakdown, but it's not doing it, if it's resisting it, then it's going to be a fade for me. And I'll immediately override that waiting 15 minutes and buy it and accumulate my position in that breaker that would otherwise be what? A premium array that I would go short on. If it's rejecting that, it's saying, no, I'm not doing that, then I have to do what? I have to concede and say, okay, I was wrong in my analysis by having that on my chart. And then I have to do what? Either make the decision to do nothing, stand on the sidelines, or reverse. So that's what I did. I went in, I built up and accumulated a long position inside that breaker, showed you the balanced price range. My stop loss was not going to be affected by it. And trust me, my ego loves the fact that you're all astounded by that. But I have so much other shit that you're going to see this year that it's going to make that look like nothing. Okay, that's nothing. You're entertained by that. And that to me is fucking crazy, because I am going to show you shit that Tony Stark's going to wish he fucking had his hands on. Nobody has the shit that I'm bringing this year. and I'm going to dazzle your ass. And it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be, like I said, my victory lap. And I'm going to be waving as I go out in December. All the receipts will be there, and you'll have all the experience walking with it. You saw me reach for a target, simple little fib projections and time. That's all that was. And I was 1/4 of a point, one tick off the high. And that pisses me off. Because I thought for sure I was going to nail the actual high, and I was off by one tick. And then it collapsed and went back down into take out the low, which I said was the balanced price range, which you're probably wondering, okay, how did I know it was a balanced price range that later on became a range that could have been taken out? Everything I just outlined. If it looks like a sell and it's setting up a sell and it's rejecting it, then it's going to do one of two things: go consolidation, which I didn't see that happening. Because why? Pal, the effect of him talking. Traders are going to be reading into that bullshit. I don't even know what the hell this guy says. I don't ever care what he's saying. I don't care. I don't ever read those fundamental data. I don't read any of the reports. I could give two shits about what they say. I don't care about that stuff, because price is going to tell me everything, because price is manipulating the minds and influencing all the decisions in every trader around the world that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. And that's how I was able to look at something. I was ready to do something, and I was like, nope, that's not happening. Reverse is going up. And then boom, there it was. Went back into the new week gap opening. I said I want to take 10 off there. You saw me do that. And at the high of the gap, I took something off there. And as it ran up, it had a nice expansion on the upside through that gap opening on Sunday's opening. I took another portion off, and then you watched me run right into the target. Only off by one tick. Folks, that's not luck. That's not luck. That's logic. It's not rooted on any horse shit out there. Nothing. John Murphy don't have it in his books. Everybody else out there talking horse shit. Nothing. It's just simple understanding of time and price and understanding market sentiment. You'll learn about that this year. I'm going to be talking about it every single day. I'm going to be talking about where retail will see the marketplace and where those instances are where retail is arm wrestling smart money. We are looking for those points right then and there. That's when our high probability setups are occurring. That's your multiplier. That's your pattern. That's the thing that you're going to do every single time you go in there and look for a trade. That's what you hunt. If it's not there, guess what you're doing? Nothing. And you're not going to regret it. You're not going to feel anxious. You're not going to fear missing out on something, because who gives a shit somebody's trading a breaker over there? Who gives a shit they're over there trading an institutional order flow entry drill over there? Who cares if they're trading in a market maker buy model when you're selling short, you're looking to sell short? Who gives a shit? That's not your trade. That's not your trade. That's equivalent to seeing somebody else's significant other and saying, wow, I'd like to get a hold of that. But you're married to somebody else. You can't do that. I mean, I guess you could do it and get yourself in trouble. But the point is in trading, you don't want to do that. You cannot do that. You got to stick to what you are married to. And that's your model. That's your market. That's your multiplier. The thing that you're going to do over and over and over again. And that is going to be multiplied with the heavy lifting of money management. Because if you're aiming for 3% or 10% or 6%, that's a static return that you're aiming for every single month. Your risk need not be high to meet these thresholds in terms of returns. Not even 1%. How about 3/4 of 1%? What if you risked 0.75, which is less than 1% risk? And nobody writes books about this shit. Nobody makes videos on YouTube about this stuff. Nobody makes courses. They don't teach their shit with this logic, okay? But if you're going to have the advantage of having funded account balances, which you really don't have, but they're going to offer you that, and you're able to take money out like you see my students all around the world doing now, I promise you they're still trading way beyond where they should, because they want these big windfall victories. You don't want that. Not when you first start out. You don't. As much as you want to believe you want it, you don't want that. You want this shit to be steady Eddie, easy money. Something that's easy to do over and over and over again. You're not trying to flip your fucking account. You're trying to take money out of it. Every single opportunity that you can take the money out and they allow you to do a payout, you do it. But what I want to let it grow. Fuck that. How do you know this company's going to be existing 6 months from now? And what if you work that account up and you build it up and you build it up and you build it up, and all of a sudden regulation steps in and says, yeah, we're going to change the way this is being done. You don't think it can happen? Nothing would surprise me anymore. Nothing would. So as you make the money, you get the fucking money. You secure the bag, you pay your fucking bills, you get your ends meet, And there you go. You save some money up and get your own account. You have to have multiple streams of income. One stream of income isn't going to be it. I'm a millionaire and I still have multiple streams of income. I'm not going to bed at night sleeping about who's going to watch my fucking videos. Okay. I'm not worried about, am I going to be able to get a trade tomorrow? I'm not worried about ever doing a mentorship ever again. Think, folks, if you're worrying about money, you have a full-time job in fear and it doesn't pay well. It gives you ulcers. It gives you stress. It's toxic. It makes you miserable to be around. And I'm telling you how to change all that. Because if you don't change that mindset and start seeing how this is obtainable, your model need not be complicated. Even though you might look at what I'm teaching and see how intricate it can be and sophisticated in many ways, it need not be that way for you. Look what I've been able to do with last year's model. And you can simplify everything that I teach just like that. And like I said, I'm going to literally teach you late entries. After a move already started, I'm going to show you how to enter doing that. And it will still beat your fucking job easily. And you need not be afraid. I'm going to show you how it's not chasing price. I'm going to show you the contrast of what chasing price is and when it's not chasing price, but still offers you a low risk, high probability entry. Folks, listen, there is no excuse this year. You have no excuse. Zero. The only excuse you have is you didn't show up every day. And then there it is. I guess that's it. But if you show up every day, you have no excuse. I'm going to lay it in your hands. You're going to handle it. You're going to see it. You're going to feel it. You're going to experience every aspect of seeing when the market's going to do this and when it's going to do that and when it's likely to fail. And you're going to see me get it wrong and how I'm going to engage it. You begged and pleaded and begged and pleaded, and now I'm going to give it to you. So there's going to be a lot of folks out there just want to watch and see if I get it wrong. That's fine. I want you to go into this with the intent that you're learning how to do this. And you're also going to see how often I get wrong. How often do I get it right? How often and how precise is what I'm going to show you and where the market goes. That can't be faked. And there will be no other recourse for anybody else to say, well, it's luck or it's cherry picked. How can I transfer cherry picking logic? People out there are doing it. They're making money. So how can anyone argue against this when you are going to get a free ride for the whole year with good old ICT? The benefits of knowing what your multiplier is and your model is that you will know exactly what you as the trader are going to do. You're not trying to keep up with somebody else on social media. You're not trying to keep up with me. You're not trying to win some kind of bullshit contest. You're in here trying to make money. That's it. That's all this boils down to. Making money and enjoying it and having fun. Making money doesn't need to be fucking boring and stuffy, but it needs to be easy. Because if it's not easy, you're not going to stick with it. Because if it's easy, you'll be able to do what? You'll be able to weather doing it wrong once in a while. Oh, okay, shit. You know, I did that wrong. Okay, it's no big deal. Why should you be carefree and lighthearted about taking a loss? Because your model, your multiplier, will still fucking work. You just did something erroneous. You watched me do it today. I could have kept that from you today. When I was closing, I was next to my son. I said, okay, look, Dad's going to short this here in a really sloppy, ugly range. I said, go through all those candles. What do you see? He goes, I see that fair value gap, Dad. I said, that's what I'm aiming for. I'm looking through all those fucking ugly candles and I'm looking right there because that's exactly what the algorithm sees. It's not looking at every single one of those individual 1 minute candles. It's looking at what? That fair value gap. And it's going to go back to it, return, back to it, return, back to it, return. And then it's going to do what? It's going to reprice lower to that fair value gap that's shaded in blue. I had 6 on and I took 3 off as I was updating a line saying, okay, I was telling my son, I said, now watch this, Caden. It's going to go below here and Dad's going to take off 3 below that. And it just started shooting down real quick. By the time I had the line drop, I said, okay, let me just hit it. And then I put my thumb over top because it's a touchscreen laptop. And yes, I use a laptop when I'm on the internet. Whenever I'm doing anything with YouTube, I'm on that. My screens are on a different ISP. I let nobody's sharing my ISP. I never send emails through that. Nothing is linked to any of my account holding computers. None of that shit is like that. So yes, I use a laptop and my screen's touchscreen and I have my thumb on the upper left-hand corner on the hot buttons for buying back the short. So when I tapped the first time, it was already set to cover 3 of them. And then I hit it again and covered it. And then I was moving the screen and then I'm bumping it one more time. And it ended up putting me long 3 contracts. So I turned to my son and I said, okay, look what Dad just did. I'm in the position, covering it, and then I hit it one more time. So now, right now, if it keeps going down, Dad will lose. So I have to do what? How do I fix this? So you're watching a sped up version of it, but I'm giving you the dialogue of what I was telling you at the time. I type it out for you in the recording nonetheless, but I said, right now, I'm net long in a position, but by error. I'm not trying to profit, but I've done something as a human that was not correct. So I saw this a couple times in the tweets too. They're like, but you just got done telling us if it was a mistake, we should get out right away. Yes, that's you. You don't know anything. So to keep the market from crushing you or beating you up and making you feel like a fool, I've done this a little bit. I've been to this rodeo a couple times, so I know what it feels like to be doing it. And if I make an error like that, if it's feasible for me to do it, I will fancy dance and finesse my exit to cover the costs. Now, I've done that before, and it has handed me my ass. Now don't get it wrong, okay, because I've done this, and it's been ugly. But because I'm ICT and I got a little bit of a fucking ego, I'm going to show you, and like I showed my son, that's usually what I'll try to do. Unless it's really a fast market, which it wasn't today. It was just a really, choppy, just doing the normal bullshit of a consolidation market. So I felt pretty confident that the bottom end of that fair value gap wouldn't be pierced, and it would allow me to go back up and allow me to get out of that. And you watch me do it. So there's a distinction and also a context applied to, yes, I can trade outside of what I taught in last year's model. Yes, I can trade outside of kill zones. Yes, I can trade outside the times I've given you. Well, I want you to do that. Look, I want you to learn what I taught. How's that work? Okay. I'm not obligated to dance for you, but if you're here to learn, how about working within the rules I've outlined for you instead of trying to color outside the lines like I do? I can use that model, but I want to broaden your expectations as a developing student where you're not limited to just that. I want you to have a more independent mindset where you're not trapped into one mold. That model that I gave last year is beautiful. It's perfect. It's nothing needed in it. It's so perfect, but it's not enough for me because I am a nut with this shit. Like, I want to be everywhere. I want to be everywhere in everything because I'm obsessive. I can't fix that part of me. So don't get mad because I can go in there and do other shit. I'm not trying to distract you or derail you from following what I put out last year. Some of these people that have gone through and found profitability, they don't give a fuck what I'm teaching from now on. They don't care. They'll watch it for entertainment value, but they're not getting changed from what they're doing right now. They know they found their shit. That's their multiplier. That's their model. That's the thing they're going to use to make money. They're not going to deviate from that. They don't give a shit who's coming out with something new. They know exactly how they're making money. They know their way to work and they know their way home. That's what you're looking for. And for some of you, it might be a forced engagement outside of the times that I've given you. You have a job, okay, you're gonna have to get up a little bit earlier. That doesn't necessarily mean you got to trade in London. It just means you might have to do something a little bit earlier. And guess what? 4 to 5 handles can be found before 8:30. It's simple stuff, folks. But will you be able to trade the entire daily range if you're trading before 8:30? Probably not, because you're trading ahead of the manipulation. So you can't be in traffic driving during 8:30, and if you're in traffic, there's an accident, and now you're looking at the marketplace, and all of a sudden your phone doesn't have connection, and you can't get to your broker to get out of the trade. Yeah, you don't want to be in that situation. So you're going to have to find a way to engage, or you simply can't trade. And for some of you, that's going to be a brick wall that you don't want to engage or meet and come to terms with. But you're going to have to make changes in your life. Some of you will have to do that to be able to do this for a living. And there's no way around it unless you're trading a daily chart, which you can. You're going to have really wide stops, really, really, really small positions, and takes forever for your trades to pan out, but it can still be done. You can make 3% using a daily chart, never even trading a lower time frame. There's nothing says that can't be done. It can. I personally can't do that because, well, look, today, I can look at a 10-second chart and see dozens of trades inside of 3 hours. I could be in there firing them off, boom, 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 Tommy gunning it, just laying it out there and have a field day, which is exactly what I was doing with those MT4 accounts. Everybody claims was what? MT4 server. That's some bullshit. Look what I'm doing on TradingView with a 10-second chart. That's the same shit I was doing, using my charts to the MT4, seeing my charts and then timing it with the MT4 platform. So when I was running up those $1 million accounts, nothing was done with trickery. Every single position that I did a new pyramid in, I was risking 4, sometimes 5% on every new position. If you're drilling it that hard and you keep building and building and building and building, it doesn't take long to build that up, folks. It does not take long to do that, but you have to know what the fuck you're doing. And over a course of a month and 2 months, 3 months, shit, it's just math. It's just math. But for some of you out there, especially Goldman Sachs alumni, you couldn't accept it. Too fucking bad. Sucks to be you. But you're all going to get a taste of all that fun stuff this year. You're going to have all kinds of fun with ICT live. And when you have all this information in front of you, and at the end of this year, all the things you're going to look back and say, these are the questions I had that I thought they were paramount. And they were hindering my learning when they should have never been a cause for concern.